So welcome to one of our pelvic health videos, and we're going to be talking about urinary incontinence in this one. So first of all, we probably need to talk about what urinary incontinence actually is. It is really just the loss of urine when we actually don't want urine to come out. So we should be able to hold urine in the bladder when we don't want to go to the toilet, or when we do activities that put a lot of pressure coming down onto the bladder and the pelvis as well. So if urine is actually leaking out, that's a problem, and we need to do something about it.
Absolutely, because we see, it having a huge impact on people's lives and
Absolutely.
how they feel about being able to go about all their daily activities. So it's something that, I think it's really important that we talk about.
Right.
There are some types, like subcategories of urine leakage, aren't there?
There is.
Which is, worth knowing a little bit about, but not getting too deep into
Fixated
it.
on.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is important about subcategories is probably more from the health professional point of view, that it helps us direct the right treatment to the problem as well. So there's one called stress urinary incontinence, and that is about pressure actually coming down onto the muscles of the pelvic floor, onto the bladder, and the bladder can't stay shut, and then it will open and release some urine, and it will come out.
So we'd say that with like sneezing, coughing, lifting, jumping, exercising,
absolutely,
laughing, bit of leakage,
all those sorts of things. They're all pressure related coming down.
And then the other type, we're going to talk about three, aren't we? But the other type is called urge incontinence, and that's more where instead of something pushing down on our bladder is the thing that's kind of creating that pressure. We can get a bladder that contracts when we don't necessarily want it to, and that bladder, which is a bag of muscle basically, isn't it? So it contracting and causing urine to leak out when we don't want it to. And some of the classics are, people getting home, putting the key in the door, and because there's some cue, isn't there? Like your bladder's received a signal saying, I'm going to be able to go to the toilet soon, and it's like, I want to go to the toilet now.
And we know that bladders don't have eyes.
No.
So the bladder hasn't seen the toilet.
We've seen the toilet.
We've seen
the door, which makes us think about the toilet. Maybe subconsciously, isn't it? Even it's such a nearly a universal symptom that people have who have problems with urge incontinence. And then the third type that's worth mentioning is that we can obviously have a mixture of both types. So we can have stress incontinence and urge incontinence. We'll call that like mixed. Because you can have absolutely, and it's very common to have elements of both.
Absolutely. So why does it actually happen? Why do we get it? We've talked a little bit about the urge incontinence and the fact that the bladder itself starts to contract and try and push that urine out. So it can become quite irritated. That might be due to the irritants within the bladder itself. So there might be things that we drink that irritate our bladder, or maybe we don't drink enough.
Yes, that's right.
So the urine's too concentrated. Absolutely.
Or we may have been in that habit as well of like not letting our bladder know, that it can fill up and it can get full, and so it sort of thinks that it can only hold a certain amount, and if you suddenly have a bit of a drink and your bladder starts filling rapidly, it's not able to sort of deal with that. So we might have trained it to be a little bit like that.
And it gets a bit bossy.
And then, when it's bossy, if we don't have a really strong pelvic floor to tell it, well, I don't want to go to the toilet now, it's pretty much impossible to say no to it.
Absolutely.
We touched on this in another video too, but around that perimenopause and postmenopausal time, a lack of estrogen in that sort of lower urinary tract can lead to some urge as well, on like that feeling I have to go to the toilet, and that's probably to do with irritation at the urethra.
Yeah.
But also it's, you know, I'm sure there's more to it than that. We don't know.
Yeah. Great. Sometimes I know people can get urgency too because they've got other things, other medical conditions actually going on.
Yes.
So, you know, they're things that we can't necessarily control conservatively as such, but they may need some medications or other forms of treatment to settle that bladder down.
That's right. Yeah. And then I guess with this, why does the stress incontinence happen is probably a bit more simple to understand sometimes, is that our bladder, you know, has these gateways, you know, that, you know, try to hold it all in, the urine, until we're ready to release it. But if the pressure on the bladder is greater than our ability to contract and hold, then we'll get leakage, and so that's where the, you know, pelvic floor issues, whether it's weakness or fatigue or injury, can cause stress incontinence, isn't it?
So from that point of view, when we're thinking about what we're going to do to help stress urinary incontinence, we need a much stronger pelvic floor muscle.
Yep.
But we also need a pelvic floor muscle that can contract and relax and has good mobility. So it just doesn't contract and hold because that causes other problems. And we're going to talk about that in another video as well.
Yeah, we need to be able to let the wee out.
We do.
And hold the wee in.
Yep.
Both.
When we want it to come out, we let it out. When we want it, we can hold it in. Yeah. Great.
You go.
What about the vaginal estrogen?
Yes.
So from the point of view of stress urinary incontinence, we could use some vaginal estrogen to thicken those tissues.
Absolutely.
As well.
So we can, you know, the vaginal estrogen will support and benefit the, you know, the exercises that you're doing, strengthen your pelvic floor muscles, will be, you know, make those more effective.
Yep.
And also we'll see that the tissue around the urethra is plumper, thicker, healthier, and able to close off better.
Yeah. So it's a team approach.
Yeah.
Pelvic floor muscles, estrogen.
All the things involved in keeping that urine in there, working the best that they can.
Yeah. Great. Good.
I guess we also have, we've talked a little bit in our videos about vaginal pessaries for prolapse as well. We can, sometimes when we are using a pessary in vagina for prolapse, that gives us a bit of pressure against the urethra and the bladder neck to help us hold in our urine too. So sometimes we're using them as well.
Yeah, great. Good. So we were thinking about maybe some extra organisations that might be able to help with urinary incontinence. So one of the ones that we think do offer lots of resources would be the Continence Foundation.
Yeah, fantastic. Service. And is the Continence Foundation, that's separate to the Continence Service?
It is, yeah. So the Continence Service, most places will have within their area a continence service, and mostly it's run by nurses. So continence nurses. And we do have one here in Launceston. And Hobart would have one too. The North West Coast would also have one.
And they can be really valuable people to talk to as well as other health professionals and physios and your GP and stuff, and they can be really useful ally, and they have access to lots of information as well. But the Continence Foundation, like you were talking about, has amazing resources on their website, and, you know, covering lots of these different topics, you know, from the anatomy of it and the causes and treatment options and strategies and stuff, bladder diaries, different things in there. And then we were going to talk about the Continence AIDS Payment Scheme, CAPS.
CAPS is the acronym.
So this scheme exists to recognise that there's a cost, obviously, involved in people who have long-term chronic urinary incontinence, needing to buy continence aids such as pads and blocks and different things like that, and so that your health professional can help fill out the paperwork with you for that if that applies to you, and the government will give you a payment every year to help towards the cost of those continence aids, which is
really helpful.
It's helpful. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to have some assistance with, and it's a good thing to know about. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
That was good.
Great.